I think Trevor Noah, who is a comedian, used satire to make points. I think it's about an 8-minute clip in which he reads the French ambassador's letter that he received verbatim. He has the awareness to take in criticism, which I think is a benefit that all of us should attempt to do. But he takes in the criticism, but his response to it, in which he basically says that one thing he likes about America is that this country allows for us as individuals to acknowledge, include, be inclusive of our ancestors. So if you go celebrate, if you're Irish and you go celebrate St. Patrick's Day, you're an Irish American. If you are like myself, I'm a direct descendant and I am a African American. In France, apparently in French culture, they don't allow you to do those things. You can't be inclusive of your other races. So the point he makes is that if these individuals didn't play soccer and they were perhaps homeless of some nature, would the French government be that quick to acknowledge them as French, or would they consider them as African, the Africans? So I felt like, I'm not doing his response a lot of justice, but he was on point with his response, and I agree with him 100%.
And he always delivers like some real, deep social commentary, even though he does have, that comedic background.
And let me say this real quick, because it needs to be, for those that don't know and don't listen to The Daily Show, Trevor Noah is a South African comedian. He is from South Africa. He is not, I don't know, he may be a U.S. citizen. I don't know if he has dual citizenship, but if you listen to him, you know him. He is a South African comedian. And I first fell in love with Trevor Noah and really became aware of who he was from a Super Soul Sunday interview that he did with Oprah. So I just wanted to make that point,
that's a good point,
that his tweet was on point when he said, I'm saying it to include them in my Africanness, because he is from South Africa.
And let's not forget how much that French, the French colonized Africa anyway. So let's start there, because the picture that was being painted in that response letter was like France was just this inclusive place. I think the thing said, and I quote, France does not refer to its citizens based on their race, religion, or origin. You said that there is no hyphenated identity. So it's like this picture of it just being this melting pot that allows everybody just these equal accesses and things like that. But that's coming from a colonizer's perspective. They colonize countries and colonize people and bring them into this umbrella and force them into this way of life. And so it started off as a joke, but it really reveals some stuff in this response of really this mentality that colonizers have. They don't even listen to what's being said. They take it and then they formulate it into a way that fits their narrative. Because if you really sit down and look at what he was saying, you can see night as day that it was more of a statement of being in support of, hey man, these guys are African, but they are French, from France. They're representing France, but they also, their parents are immigrants from Africa. Now, the argument that was also found in that letter from the French ambassador was that there are Nazi subsections within French culture that try to rip people of color from their Frenchness and just make them African. So you can't be French because you're black, you're African. He was saying that there is a section in their society where when you refer to somebody as African, it's derogatory. Which is a whole nother thing as far as this whole French picture, because I wonder if one of those 11 footballers got caught up in something bad, or if this was a story about a black person in France who may have done something that didn't fit what was French, would they still be as quick to embrace them as being Frenchmen, or at that moment in time would they just be African, even though they were born in France? It's good when they got here winning these titles and making France look good. Oh, you're French. But what happens when you may not be doing something in that light? Are you still as quick to be French, or are you just a black man? Or are you just African?
Yeah, I call bullshit. So
Yeah.
I think Trevor responded appropriately. Like I said, I cannot promote Trevor's response to the criticism.
Yeah.
You definitely need to go to YouTube, check it out. His words, not mine. He did a phenomenal job. So go check it out.
And shout out to that African nation for getting that World Cup trophy.